How's it going, disc golf family? We're here at Dretzka Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the
Short tees.
My name is Joe Jump Putt, and this is First in Flight. What up, Dretzka disc golfers? This course in Milwaukee gets the most love, and for good reason. Actually, it's a good thing they added 9 holes years back. Helps to spread out players on a nice summer afternoon or weekend. Side note, if you watched the intro and saw the robot, that's because I've also created a pandemic special, which I'm hoping to release sometime with consent of the Panda Man himself. As for hole 1, A and B position, those are pretty self-explanatory. You're going to want to attack those off the tee. For hole C and D, a lot of people will actually lay up short of the woods to give yourself a decent angle just to play for the 3. Some crazy people will throw it up over the trees on a turnover shot and be able to get somewhat close to the pin. Hole 2, just back and to the left when you put out. Two, not leaving a whole lot of room for improvisation. Laser a backhand down the middle for hole A position. B and C, usually going with the forehand, just because you're going to have to hit the corner with a little speed to continue down the fairway, getting all the way back to these positions. If the first couple holes don't have you claustrophobic, this hole certainly will. I actually prefer a backhand and want to err on the right side of the fairway, just because with the rotation of the disc, if it hits the trees, it'll have a better chance to kick out back into the middle of the fairway. You're really just trying to get out into the opening with the position in the way back about 450 down the tunnel. Gonna consider that a par 4. Hole 4 is just over to the right. This hole, oh my, is it different than it used to be. Came here in the spring and saw all these trees down, cleared out, so you shouldn't have any problem navigating any of these pin positions. As for hole 5, the only bit of caution I would have to give you is that the grass is grabby. Don't expect any sort of flare skip, but play to all of these positions on a nice flat release. To get to 6, just cross the street on the right side. As for this hole, if you're playing for the A or C position, you're a lot better erring to the left side. You'll still have some sort of scramble to get to these baskets if you do miss. As for B and D, you can't really go to either side. They're about a horse apiece, trying to get down to the basket from either side rough. I'll give you a shot of both C and D positions. When you're done, go over by the B position and walk to the right over a bridge, and that's where you're going to find hole 7. For this little shorty, you would not believe how many times I see people hit that small little tree right in the middle of the fairway. A and B are pretty easy to get to, and C you want to throw mid-range. That's going to flip up to a flatter flight path, getting all the way down there to the basket. Hole 8 might as well be considered righty heaven, because you can just pump something down the gap on a hyzer, getting to the A or B position. C and D going over the right hand side trees on a bomb, bending all the way over to the left. Hole 9 is just right of the B position. Hole 9 looks easy, being so wide open, but the wind is always going to do something weird with your disc on this hole. Usually find it best releasing on a hyzer angle, just to be able to get something off a little more consistent, with this D position being tucked way up in the back. I'll fly up there for you. Hole 10 is over to the right hand side once you're done. A conundrum of hole 10 is the C position. It's kind of hard to advise whether you should attack it down the right side gap over hole A's post, or play out to the left side safe, pitch up and in for a 3. If you have a decent scramble game, feel free to attack it. The B position sneaks into the left side down towards the bottom of the hill, and the D position just back middle. You used to play up on top of the hill for hole 11, up by where Sam's Club is now. That used to be such a fun shot. Most of these set up good for a backhand. There will be people wanting to transition to the new 9 after this hole. I would suggest playing it how it was designed though, going up to 14 and crossing the street, which is also how they play it in tournaments, just to help flow of the course and confusion. .12 is not easy by any means. There is a low ceiling all the way down the fairway. The grade isn't as crazy as it looks in the video. I think the drone's flying sideways for whatever reason. Getting to the C and D position are the toughest. Just make sure if you're throwing to the D position not to flare over to the left and get into that tree line, because it will set you up for a bogey. I'd say the most memorable hole on this course would be 13. This was the first one they installed a podium basket on, and just a great looking shot off the tee box. Most of these you're going to play backhand too, and it's a little deceiving because it plays uphill, so you're going to put a little more power on it than normal. The sleeve you're not going to see on this one is position D, so I'll throw an icon up over to the right side. Most of these you're just going to play whatever is comfortable. Getting all the way back to the E spot is certainly a challenge. Almost a tweener hole, par 3 or 4. Just set yourself up down the middle or right side gap. Once you put out, head over to that D position and cross the street over to the right side, and that's where new 1 is. Right away, as I pan up, check out the top of the trees. I've seen people crest that with a big hyzer, getting all the way back to the B and C position. The biggest error you can make though is going into that left side thick stuff. It's going to set you up for a difficult scramble to any of these spots. Thought about removing the trash for the video, which I did a bunch at Estabrook, Figured it would be a good reminder. It's everyone's course. Let's keep it looking nice. Hole new 2 is freaking awesome. Watching people swing it out wide to the right, trying to get to the B and C position. It's sad yet hilarious when they hit the pole and it stays out of bounds. Getting all the way back to that C position. It's going to take a nice hyzer shot with a overstable driver, skirting that pole in either direction. If hole 8 was righty heaven, then hole N3 has got to be lefty heaven. The A position's out in the middle and very manageable, but the B and C, you either need to have a crushing forehand or a very delicate anhyzer to get to these positions. Hole 4 is just a little bit left of the B position. N4 is pick your poison, lots of gaps, lots of routes, lots of positions. None of them being too difficult though, since they're all under 300 feet. Alright, on this one, there is a river over to the right side, so if you grip lock, it's time to start praying to whatever disc guide you have and hope the trees knock it back in play. Also be mindful if people are behind you, they'll be teeing off on N4. Just yell 4 if you end up going over to that left side. Somehow, some way, I find my disc diving down on this hole when I go with the anhyzer, probably because the wind swirls in from the left to right hand side. So I seem to find a little bit more success with the forehand. If you got one, go that route, unless you have a confident backhand. New 7 is a short, fun hole up the hill. Most of these baskets you can put on a laser, getting it to skip into the hill and then up towards the basket, whatever position it may be in. New 8 is just up and to the right when you're done. New 8 is about as tricky as it gets. Lots of different lanes and possibilities. Pick whichever one you're most comfortable with. Whatever you do, just try your best not to leave it out to the left side. You could lose it pretty far down the hill if it's carrying some speed up towards the basket. Fooled you, 9 is actually worse than 8. You're going to need to get an anhyzer past that white tree in the middle, and 20 feet later, there's really no easy way to get through the trees, so good luck. In all seriousness though, I usually take a stable mid on an anhyzer, just trying to poke and hope through that gap. '15's tee you'll find just outside of the woods from hole 14's E position basket. Most of these play well into a backhand hyzer. Just check for cars before you go out wide, if that's your preferred route. And 16 is to the right across the road. Holes 16 and 18, it's almost like they had some extra basket sleeves and were like, hey, we got space here, let's just throw them all on the ground. But still, you can't argue with the variety. Baskets A through D just play across the field. with whatever shot type goes the furthest. E and F, you're wanting to throw to the opening where the E position is, with a little backdoor route to get to the F position. Hopefully that pandemic special is available. You can go to that video and check out the backdoor entry for position F. Hole 17 is just a little left of the basket E position. Alright, last couple. Hole 17 to get to the A spot. Throw a straight forehand that's just going to fade right at the end. B, C, and D, you're just throwing a laser on a backhand as straight as you can. Really trying to just get to the B, maybe C spot. Getting all the way to that D position in one is quite a feat. Although I'm sure you guys have a friend that has claimed to have gotten back there before. Final hole of the day. It opens up so much after that initial gap. Just don't be silly and throw it into the trees right away. Besides that, it is the discer's choice as to how they plan to attack any of these pin positions. With the F spot not really reachable in one. Just whatever you do, don't flex something out that'll stable up and go into the road out of bounds. And there we have Dretzka Park. I hope you've enjoyed this and the other videos that have been produced so far. Just remember, be well and throw 'em straight.